What's up, guys? My name is Matt. I go by Mayhem. Um, I just got home from work, working on this lovely Saturday today. I'm parked outside of my house, and I've I've been really thinking. I've been really reflecting on life lately, and I feel like I really need a change in my life. I really need to take control of my life back and really lock in. Um, I'm 29 now. I'll be welcoming my 30s in May of 2026. So, as my 20s are coming to a close, I feel like I really need to make a big change for my 30s. I really feel like I want to do something that I really enjoy doing. I want to share a passion of mine that I always felt like I talk to my wife, but she's not really into gaming or anything. So I want to share my passion on with you guys and really exercise a muscle that I've always had, that I've always known is there, but I've always been too scared to exercise it. I've always been too scared to let it go, let it free, let it roam, let it fly. Um, as you guys can probably see that on my channel, I left a video up that I uploaded almost 10 years ago now. A young Mayhem, a young immature, you know, Mayhem that hadn't experienced any life yet. And I want to capture that optimism that I had at the time. At the time, I was gonna open a channel with some friends, and I felt so optimistic for the future, not knowing what was coming soon after that. But I feel like I want to capture that optimism, that blind optimism that I had at that time, where it wasn't a need of like, I need to produce or I need to do this with my life to make sure that I succeed. I need to capture that, almost that innocence of, you can do anything, and anything you do now in the future, you'll be happy you did it. Um, Streaming, creating videos is something that I've always admired others for doing, and I always wondered if I could do it myself. And I've always had a passion for gaming. I've been gaming since I was 4 years old, where I got my first PlayStation and my first GameCube as well. And when the GameCube came out, and I played the old Spider-Man 2 games from the movies, and I've always loved it. And I would always share with my friends and with my family how much I loved it. And it's something that's part of my identity at this point. It's something that's part of my life. And it's something that I really, really need to try, because I feel like in the future I'm going to regret it if I do. To give you a little bit of context of where I'm at in life at 29 years old, we recently bought our house. We are about a year into having our house here. Beautiful home. We lived in an apartment for about 3 years, and before that I lived with my parents. Around 10 years ago when I made that video, I was fresh out of high school. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know if I wanted to get a degree. I didn't know if I wanted to work. And then the decision was kind of made for me, in the sense that I felt like if I went into college, I would have a lot of debt. So I didn't know if that was my path in life. And my parents bought a company, a window cleaning company, actually. And it became a family oriented business, and where we would all work together into, it being our careers. Shortly after that, my parents split, and the weight of the company was kind of thrown onto my shoulders to kind of keep it from collapsing in on itself, just because everybody was kind of doing their own thing. Everybody was kind of going through their own, I guess, grieving process of what had happened, including myself. But I felt it my responsibility to make sure that the company and the thing that we had worked so hard for didn't collapse in on itself. So when other people, or when my parents decided to kind of go their own ways, I really felt a responsibility to put it on my shoulders to make sure that the company kept going and that we were able to still, make a living. Um, in that process, I kind of lost myself. I started really experimenting with just bad choices of I'm not a drinker, but I did smoke a lot of the ganja growing up. Probably from 20 to 24 is around the time where I really started, and it kind of got out of hand. I started smoking every day, and I really lost that motivation. you know Plus the company kind of took up all my time and all my passion. Sorry for the shaking. I'm really bad at this, and I'm shaking because I'm nervous. I'm not good at making these kind of videos, so vulnerable. But I feel like maybe some people can relate to what I'm saying and can kind of maybe take something away from me making this video. I also want to use this opportunity to kind of explain what my channel is going to be about and what you can expect, and yeah. So shortly after all that happened, when everything kind of settled down a little bit, I met my fiance, or my wife. If you hear me call her either thing, it's because we're engaged, but she's my wife. So we have 2 kids. So I met my fiance, and she really instilled in me, I think, something that I didn't know I had, something that innocence that I talked about in that old video, that passion. She reignited it because she could see that I was passionate about this, that I was passionate about doing it. But me being my worst enemy, I always created excuses for myself. I always said, I'm not good enough. I'm not good at talking to a camera. I get nervous. I'm not a clear thinker. I'm not a concise speaker. My mind just is very sporadic, and sometimes it's hard to really put thoughts together. It's something that I want to get better at. And she said, why don't you do it? Why don't you stream? You game anyways on your free time. Why don't you just turn on the stream? Why don't you just make videos about things that you're passionate about? Why do you continue to do things that you don't want to do instead of doing things that you do want to do? And I never understood it, and I feel like I'm finally kind of coming to terms with the fact that I really need to do something for myself, and I really need to do something that I'm passionate about, because at the end of the day, I do have to produce, and I do have to work, and I do have my full-time job. But if I were to one day, because my dad is the owner, so if I were to one day inherit all of this, I was talking with my wife actually a couple of weeks ago. If I were to inherit the company one day and it was truly mine, I feel like I would be stuck. I feel like I would be in a place where I don't know if I want to be. And I feel like at that point I would have to really put a damper on doing this or streaming or playing video games in general. And there's something in me that tells me, there's a feeling, there's an instinct, there's something in me that's telling me that I need to do this, that I need to try, that I'm gonna regret it if I don't, and that this turn of my 3rd decade on this planet is the time to do it. That I worked my butt off in my 20s, that I did everything I could, and I messed up along the way, and I lost years of my life to being stupid and to being lost. And my wife has really helped me focus my life again, and really instilled the belief in me that I didn't have in myself. And I feel like now is the time, if ever, to try. My daughter's about to turn 3. She starts preschool next year, and my son is 6 months old. And I really feel like I don't want them to be stuck in life. I want to be an example for them, in that even at, now turning 30, that they can do what they want in life, that I want to teach them that they can do what they want to do, that they can follow their passions. What kind of example would I be if they see me every day doing something that I don't want to do, stressed out, and if I were to one day inherit the company, to have a feeling of being stuck. I really don't want that for them, and I really want to lead by example. I really need to let go of these fears and these insecurities of oh, I can't do it, or I'm not good enough, or the only thing I can promise is that I'm gonna get better. The old Yoda quote, there is no try, it's do or do not. And I want to do, okay? I want to do. I really want to. To kind of speak a little bit about what I want to do with this channel is I really want to create videos of, sharing my passion about gaming. And I don't want to feel like, because in the past I have tried to stream and I don't want to feel like I'm locked in a box of having to cover one certain type of game. I'm inspired by a lot of these big guys like Carnage and all these guys that kind of, Shroud, that are really good at what they do, and they can kind of do what they want in terms of like what play any game that they want, because the people are really invested in them as people rather than the game itself. And I really want to build a community around that. I really want to be playing games that I'm passionate about. If I lose passion in a game, I want to be able to follow something else, because I'm always passionate about gaming in general, not necessarily about a certain game, one single game. So I want to create videos, sharing my passion for different types of games, maybe funny moments that happen in stream. And I really want to maybe cover some news as well. I already made one short about some Warzone news that came out, but I really want to try. I really want to do, okay? I really want to do. I got to get try out of my vocabulary, but I really want to do this. I really need to do this. And if you guys are interested, I might maybe make a series of like weekly or monthly updates of I was having an idea earlier of like from window cleaning to YouTube or something like that. It sounds so cringe, but it's kind of an idea. So yeah, man, I just really needed to get this off my chest. I'm really going to improve at this. I'm really going to get better at talking in front of the camera. I know maybe my thoughts were a little sporadic, but I hope maybe someone that's listening can really take this as an inspiration of, it's never too late. It's never too late to follow your dreams. It's never too late to really do what you're passionate about. Even if you feel like me, where you have to produce because you have mouths to feed, or maybe there were certain circumstances in your life where you felt like you needed to do something, and now maybe you lost time because of that, because of things that were out of your control. It's never too late to start doing something that you want to do. Never feel like you're too chained to something to not be able to do something that you want to do, because I feel like later in life you'll end up regretting it. And especially now having my kids see me, I want them to really see a person that's happy with what they're doing and a person that's really passionate about what they're doing, So yeah, so if you guys are interested in this, if you want to drop a like or subscribe to the channel, I really appreciate it. You'll probably find a few videos of what I want to do already. And yeah, guys, I'll see you around.